Somewhere in the smokestack, I wonder on the symbolistic system of human contempt, and it leaves me damp and far from wet. I looked into the mirror with my eye. No allure did I find. I smoke the stack in the wax of shit, and I get what I get, and then I'm equipped. I wander down my avenue with a dentist and layers of lawyer documents and fraudulent scams, and I realize the money spent, they didn't love me enough. I amaze myself with the brain food of the nearest fast food dietary over excess concrete sweat, and then my mission is spent. They made me better with their ties. I look to my day as the future passes from one day to the next, and tomorrow is gone as yesterday. I market myself on a postboard of forgotten shit that no one reads anymore. It's just the facts of yesterday. Staring at your wrist, thinking at the end, flesh wound, flesh wound. I shelter myself in my room that I rent, and I realize that my life was gone to shit, and I wonder where the peace is didn't fit. A friend cries out, howling at the moon, a dead man crying from his tomb. Flesh wound. I sit on the toilet of my life and shit the shit that hits the bowl and ends up flushed, and a boy isn't a man until he blushes. And then a girl sits on his face and he thinks he owns the fucking place. And the sky is the limit for astronauts that fly unknown alien ships that twist the mind of a friend. And he wonders where he went and claims he knows people from different worlds, and that he's all wound up in splitting serum from his snake-form calamity that he calls recovery. Children with mutilating sighs, all the abuse they try to hide. Flesh wound, flesh wound. I choke on the idea that I can get involved, but I don't have the nerve to treat people like shit. But damn, wouldn't it be nice to hit? I climb from one slot machine to the next, but no jackpot do I find. I put my money to get nothing in return except maybe a shout of love from someone I don't know. And I don't know the void in my life will ever be filled with treasures of others' laughter. You claimed you were magic, you claimed you were all, you claimed I was your victim, you claimed I would take your fall. I wish I was a better being, but all I can do is be what I am. I'm not a commodity or personal entity with the corporate rights that remain within my mind. I was all alone and doing time. I was a fish on your line. I was 5150 and out of luck, like I even gave a fuck. I was unkind and quick to judge the simplest matters that affect my soul, and I'm still sitting on that toilet bowl. I look to the heavens and feel cast out like a catfish fishing from a stream of knowledge that I know will fall, the simplest of men and women of this nation. I can't rationalize or criticize the progress in my mind, nor do any truths I find. You called your friends to do your dirt, all their nothings fucking hurt. They called me out, said I should die for the battle within my eyes. Now it's all rearranged, I'm no puppet on your stage, still clowning your silliness. That's where my amusement's found. How much does heaven cost? How much will a bill can you run up until your time is up? I don't really see how you continue to live on the disharmony of your existing condition, but I hope it lasts you until the last of your namesake. I've tallied up your funny, and it doesn't reek of honey. More money means more happiness. I really doubt it. And I kiss and then I cry, and still heaven I can't find. The doctors say it's alright, just a blood splat in the night. Flesh wound, flesh wound. I kiss and then cry, and still heaven I can't find. How does God judge his children of all credit to create? But in the end, all we seek is heaven. So again I ask, how much does heaven cost? I bet all the drugs and alcohol of the world couldn't buy one man into heaven. I think of our journey. I think the journey of our whole life is really no redemption. I am a sin, and therefore I can spin and grin to the bloody end. But who will find heaven? And ask if you are by anything, especially a gate of eternity. I woke with a choke in my throat, and it really stirred me up. I could not continue to price the cost of life. If heaven exists, then when will it reveal itself? I wonder if I was murdered, if that was someone's ticket to the golden gates of heaven's waiting pool of rejoice. I must pray for salvation, for I am a lamb, but lamb chops fry up so nice. Such a nicety to be flame, gain of weight that penetrates the stable. I look to porn and I am alone and my friend is my hand. I think love is God and God holds heaven like a junkie's needle inside a tomb that only the ancients can find. I'm ashamed of the cost I paid, for it was at other stakes and crucifixions that I created to buy myself into heaven. Tomorrow is always a means of faith, for time will pass away, and so will us. Then and then may we enter heaven. Page turn. If I get a brochure on what vacation to heaven will be like before I give all my all to obtain it, it may be all glorified and white, but we live in the black, at least for today, and how much debt will one nation pay until the gratitude is taken away? How much will inflation have to do with the cost of heaven? I doubt I'll ever see the gates of the afterlife, for I live for now, and now is even too real to deal with. I want an insurance policy that will enshrine me the blessing of heaven, but I know that no such policy. So I reach with my heart, and all I get is emotional. Could that be love? Is that the heaven that all people, at least church people, care for? I have no idea. I don't think you can sell this allure of heaven to me. I don't preach, and I only teach children to trust themselves. All fools will get into heaven, for the foolish believe in foolish things, such as beauty, love, and endless lust, but those things I don't trust. I want to know, how much does heaven cost all you creatures' doings? I can't repent on a daily basis and turn this to God's creature and believe that he will cast aside his gates as my life ends. I don't agree with the agreement of laws of heaven and the glorified ones. I must pay some cost to get into heaven, and if that simply means believing, then I choose to believe. As a cat becomes familiar, which delight, no longer can you fight the fight. Flesh wound. Looking inside the tidal puddle I've been collecting for decades, I found an anomaly that obscures the real vision I had for my experiment. I was hoping to find a place where I could breed and cultivate my possessions, but in turn all I found was disease and clairvoyant stagnations that led me to past failures. I did find out that there was a different way to collect and organize my findings in an orderly, passive way. I did not have to grasp the whole to understand the individual. I could look at the way everything was so perfectly collective, but that was the big picture. Dinah Shore led me to Roger Waters that underground velvets had not revealed to me prior to my Ocean Boulevard living. I suspected that the tide would pull in only the tiniest of creatures. One person's guilt of another person's wrong. Flesh wound. But I observed the tide eventually pulls everything to the beach. No one can see the things I can see, or maybe they can, but that really doesn't mean nothing to me at this moment. Sure, I can see my experiment as I choose to make the outcome any way I want, but that's not the truth. No, maybe only my perception. But to load my head with other things than what is there makes me think too small. If I want to uncover the whole picture, I have to base my perceptions on actualities. That is factually true, but it's not the truth. I consider myself a collector of things that I don't even want until I have dissected them all and ingest them wholly. And that makes my stomach ache, and my heart cry out, and my soul go, ah! And I manically reflect the outside of the pail before I look into the recesses to find the inner workings of the things I experiment on. I would like to say that objectively is the only way I calculate my forecast, but can anyone really say that the subjective is any other thing than the truth for the experimenter? I don't really see, think, feel, taste, touch, or smell that wholeheartedly. I know that the subjectivity of my mind is going to draw its own artistic whereabouts on how I want the world to be. But being the scientist I am, I had to discard the subjective to the relative and more prosperous objectivity as to prove my points. So be it the sea, be it the land, be it the earth, be it the fire. I can only state what I want. I can't expect the stimuli to discern between what it is and what I want it to be. So I meander my way through endless evidence, finding findings, and they all return to the tidal wave of thoughts and actions. I feel that this is real, but in no way a promise to how the world is. I find the world full of abnormalities that make no sense, at least not to me. But is that to me my perception is wrong? I think no is the answer to that, for the person is ruled by the personality and the spirit dictated by the soul. And one can think that they have the right way to answer the oddities of the universe, but isn't that true for them alone? I guess the point is, don't experiment on how the world is, focus your attention on how it affects you, and page turn, and what you can do about it. For fools will say the world is the center of the universe, but I tell you it is you that is the center of all activities, for nothing that doesn't affect you can affect you, and you must be selective when you look at the world and the experiments you undertake to state on how you're going to fit all the pieces of the puzzle together.